Uh,
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
so shall I start?
Yes, sir. Please do so.
Okay. A very good afternoon. Today's esteemed speaker, Sri Soumya Ranjan, Head Business Operations, BFSI SSC of India, Mr. Shukla, Professor Amitava Chatterjee, Head and Administrator, Department of Commerce, Scottish Church College, Dr. Samrat Bhattacharjee, Coordinator, Internal Quality Assurance Cell of the College, my dear colleagues, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. Really, it's my special privilege to cordially welcome you all to this special orientation webinar, which is being jointly organized by the BFSI Sector Skill Council of India and Scottish Church College. And I strongly believe a fruitful and effective orientation program is going to be launched today, which will considerably help our students in internship management and job placement. I extend my sincere thanks to the Council for coming forward with this offer for our students. And I must note that there has already been a memorandum of understanding between us, and this webinar is the beginning of a new journey. In recent years, I'm proud to say the college has engaged in a number of significant projects, and today's skill development program, which we are going to start, is another feather in our cap. So I wish all the very best for today's program, this webinar, and I declare it open. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Vice Principal, sir. It is wonderful that you are with us. You have been with us all the time. So thank you a lot. Okay. And since Shamrat has said, our IQAC coordinator has said that I can go ahead and start with the thing. He doesn't want to add to the speakers. So I would start by coordinating the job and at least providing a short introduction to what will happen today. Now, the main speaker, there's only one speaker, Mr. Soumya Ranjan, and I give you a little bit of his background. The person who will be talking to the students mainly, his background is that after his MBA in finance from Pune University, he has been to a number of companies. He has a lot of exposure to corporates, okay? Starting with alpha level, after which there is HDFC Bank, where he was for about 3 years, ICICI Bank, where again, about 2.5 year stint, Tata Capitals, Reliance Capital, Axis Securities, that's a securities branch of Axis, and so many places. That's my point, that he has very wide exposure to the different types of finance-related companies, different types of companies that are related with finance. And I'm sure that the talk that he will give will be very, very informative to our students who will be the principal beneficiaries from the whole process. It is our students who will mainly benefit. And the reason we have formed the memorandum is that we want them to develop their skills. It is not only academic things that are important. Some other skills are also very, very important in order to get a job, and a good one. Now, given this, who better could we have than Mr. Soumya Ranjan with this much of experience in different types of companies and banks? I'm sure we will benefit a lot. from the whole talk. I am finding that currently we have about 84 people who have joined and they are still streaming in. But we cannot afford to wait indefinitely for people to come in, because that is not proper. We have given a time. We should try and start on the time. Okay. So if someone is late, then that person, he should look out that, no, I have not maintained the time. Okay. The speaker was caught up in a traffic snarl. Now at least he is very close to his office. And before I end my talk, the way we intend to organize this program is I will ask Sachin, if he is there, to say only a few words, followed by the speaker, who takes about 40-45 minutes, whatever he wants. He takes his time, gives a complete orientation to the whole program and the benefits that our students may hope to get, particularly if they join the different courses that are being offered and at such a reasonable rate, after the association has been formed. And after which, please do not interrupt the speaker as he is going along. My request to students, do not interrupt him. Let him have his talk, after which you can just raise a hand and I am sure you will be given an opportunity to ask whatever question that comes up in your mind. Okay. With these few words, I am again requesting Sachin, because I have been talking with Sachin all the time, at least a few sentences from you, and then from you, the speaker will take over. Okay. Sachin, please. Are you there? Sachin, are you there? I don't think you are there.
Sachin, are you there?
You are there. Good. Can you say only a few words, at least about the speaker? I have given the introduction, but you know him much better than I do. Can you say a few words? And then he starts with his talk. Okay. Thank you. Sachin, please.
I think
Yeah.
Sachin is not there on the call right now.
Okay. Okay.
Sachin,
Sir,
Sachin,
up to what point you have come? Are you in your office or you are still traveling?
no, I'll take another 5 minutes, but nevertheless, I will start rolling. I'll start the session.
Okay.
And
Please do so. Please do so. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amitava. It was, little quite humbling that you have made a mention about my few companies that I have worked and a little of experience that I have in the financial sector.
Yes.
But I congratulate the Scottish College to come forward and accept our invitation to be a part of the skilling ecosystem. And this talk that has been arranged by the college in association with our council is to basically orient the student, inform the student as to what is in store for them in future, specifically in the banking, financial services, and insurance sector.
Correct.
And from the top, I only expect the students to analyze their own strength, their interest, their aspiration, what they should do to grab the opportunity which comes in front of them. So with that, I take your permission and we will let me start the talk. So good afternoon to all again. to all the students. I see some around 85, 86 students being there, and that's really a very good gathering. So welcome you all. My name is Soumya Ranjan, and as sir has told, I completed my BSc in physics and my MBA in finance from Pune University, and I started working with a company called Alpha Level. Alpha Level is a Swedish company. Just one second. So that, sorry, that's a call which came in. So this is Swedish company which, if you all must be knowing, uh, Amul milk, okay, or maybe let's say Amul chocolates, right? Is there anybody who says he doesn't know Amul? I'm very sure everybody would accept.
Anyone who doesn't know Amul,
Not only Amul, if you everybody knows what is fruity, okay, fine. I go by uh, my hunch that people would be laughing that who doesn't know fruity. So if you see the packet of fruity, if you turn it up, open it up, into and then turn it, look at the rear side of the back side, the underside of the packet, you will find a mark which is of something called Tetra Pak. Now Tetra Pak is nothing but Alpha Level product, and Alpha Level is worldwide known for this manufacturing this packaging material in which basically specifically milk is stored in that, some juices are stored in there. So I used to work with this company in the finance division of this company, where we used to do equipment financing. We used to finance machines which are used by the companies to package the liquid material. Now from here, my journey started of lending money to the businesses. Okay, so what is this uh, you know all activity in finance, banking, financial services industry all about? So if you see, there are two things that these kind of companies they do. One, they would accept money from you if you have more money to share. That means if you have savings, they will ask you to invest with them. They will ask you to park your money with them. Okay, now this aspect, when they take money from you, it is their liability to return the money back to you. So this is known as the liability business of the banking sector. Whenever they are asking for money, they might ask for money by way of a saving account, a fixed deposit, a recurring deposit, but ultimately, नहीं, बस बस यहीं छोड़ दो. Just 1 minute, I'm just about to get down from the taxi.
yes, sir, we will wait. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah. So I will continue. I'm through with it. So this activity of collecting money from people is called the liabilities business of the banking sector. Now you can imagine what all you have been seeing where people have been asking money from you. It can be saving, recurring deposit, fixed deposit, mutual fund investment. Wherever a post office, they also ask you for investments. So companies typically deal with uh, collecting money from people. Now what do they do after collecting the money from people? How will the return give interest which they are promising to you? So the next aspect and the most important aspect is to lend this money back to those companies or individuals who are in need of money. That means start giving loans.
Yeah.
So the critical part you
we need to all understand is that for any lending, to happen, there has to be a huge amount of money available, liquid fund that is to be made available with the banking system. So bank is constantly looking for their employees to get money from the system. System means individuals like you, me, companies, small companies, big companies, large companies, government institution, wherever, whoever is having liquid funds, they would like to ask them to give money to them. So one activity which will be there, perpetually there, where you might get engaged, is to collect money from the ecosystem. Sorry, I'm just getting into the lift. It will be a break of couple of minutes, just couple of minutes.
Students are requested to bear with the situation. Speaker, let him get off the lift. Okay. Yeah, that's all right. No problem.
Okay, so now I'm there in my chamber, so I think one second. Okay, am I audible now?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible?
We can hear you clearly.
Right, right. So I was saying, boys and girls, this one line of activity which you need to understand in the banking system is to collect money from companies, individual, from any source, which is available in the financial system, is something which a bank would like to garner. And this repository of money, this is something, there's a word called float. Every bank requires a floating amount. They have something called time deposit with them and a demand deposit with them. Demand deposit is something that the depositor can demand at any point of time. So the bank needs to have some liquid cash available to them. And there's a time deposit where the person who has invested the money or who has given the money to the bank will have a specific period of time defined well in advance, where the bank has to return the money on a particular date at a particular rate, and a particular amount has to outflow from the bank. The bank continuously is trying to adjust its outflow and inflow in such a way that at any point of time they don't have to cut a sorry figure for their investors or depositors. So that's one side of the game. The second side of the game is to lend. Now, lending is an activity which will always interest you, or you should be. Most of the bankers who get into the job of when they think that I'm going to be a banker, so they eventually will land up with applications coming to them for asking for loans. Loans can be for any reason. What can be the reason? Reason can be, I want to buy a house, I want to buy a car, I want to buy a truck, I want to set up a company, I want plant, I want machinery, I want land, I want working capital to do this business, I want some money to run the business. So there's a working capital requirement. So if I convert all this into technical jargon, I would say there are term loans which are long-term loans, and there are working capital which are short-term loans. One is rotational in nature. That means it is continuously used, paid, used, and one which is paid over a period of time. So you have some kind of installments which they need to pay and service the loan over a period of maybe 5 years or 7 years or 10 years, depending upon the loan size. Again, the loan can be bifurcated into two parts. One to the corporates, where there is a security taken from them. There is an underlying security which is either been hypothecated or it has been mortgaged. It has been, there is a security which has been developed. Securities can come in different formats. There can be, we call it collaterals also. And then there is another side which is unsecured. Now, unsecured are like credit cards. There is no security. A credit card is a typical loan given to you for a very short period, which you utilize and return it back within a specific time. The best part is that if you give it within a particular time, there is no money that you have to pay, no interest. But after that, the interest is unbelievable. Okay, so you can either you are at 0 or you are at maybe 36% per annum. So that can be the scenario. So it is the intelligence of the guy as to what he should use and how he should use. The second kind of unsecured is typically your personal loan, which is given to you basis of your salary that you earn or the income that that a small proprietor must be having. And this can be short-term loans. And when I say short-term means it is though it is more than 1 year, but it can be for 3 years at the most, or maybe 4 years at the most. Nowadays it is getting stretched up to 5 years also. So secured loan, unsecured loan, these are two basic categories. But what is there? What is there that you should understand as a potential employee of a bank or a financial services company, is that am I geared enough to understand how should I read my customer? How should I analyze my customer? What should I ask him? What should I see his documents? What should I see within the documents? How do I interpret whether this customer is a good customer where I can lend him and collect my money? Lending is not a difficult task. Collecting is an even bigger difficult task. So, and secondly, most important thing, banker is not lending out of his own pocket. He is lending on behalf of his customers who have trusted upon him and are banking with him. They are banking on him, saying that take my money and use it and return the money back to me. Okay, so the skills that you have to analyze, you have to develop, is to read balance sheets, analyze balance sheets. You are not becoming an accountant. Remember, you are not trying to make balance sheets, you are trying to read balance sheets. How do you interpret the profit and loss account vis-a-vis the balance sheet? If the sales are going up, very good, but the receivables are also going up, what do you think about it? One company sales is doubling up every year, and receivables also doubling up every year, and the receivable to sales ratio is as good as maybe 80%. Can be dangerous. We don't know. There are companies whose receivables are negative. I mean, there is no receivable at all. Everything is credit. I mean, they have all liabilities, all creditors, and no receivable, and the sales are happening. That means they are collecting the money in advance. Is it good? Is it bad? These are some of the things that will come into your mind, and you have to argue with yourself, argue with your colleagues, argue with your peers, argue with your teachers also. Sir, is it good or bad? Because there can be an aggressive outlook, there can be a conservative outlook. That's the part of the academic part. But I'm saying that the credit appraisal technique of an individual or a small enterprise or a large enterprise is something that you will have to develop within yourself as an individual, if you are aspiring to become a work with a banking company, where eventually you will come across a situation where some department, some time or other, you will be meeting working in a department where there is going to be lending happening. Okay. Next part which is there, one is collecting money, one is lending. But within lending also, there are two roles which comes up. One, who solicits the customer. Now I'm going to use a word which most of the people hate. That's called sales. Now sales is a is the bread and butter of I know why Amitavji is giving a smile.
No, we don't hate it. No.
I'm saying most of the people don't like it, but
Yeah, true.
if if you see the typical CEOs of the company, of the banks, they're the guys who are hardcore marketing and sales people. They have that acumen of capturing the attention, influencing a community. They might not have done a one-to-one sales, but they know what is going to work with what set of people, and they design products accordingly where they can attract and customers. So idea is to get the customers into your portfolio. Okay, so sales can be selling your saving account, demat account, current account, fixed deposit, recurring deposit, your credit cards, and all the loans are getting sold. You see, there's a continuous bombardment that is happening. You look around, I mean, all of you there in Calcutta, you can move into the streets and you will find hoardings left, right, corner, on the top, on the bottom. I don't know where. You can look at any pillar of any of the metro bridges or skywalks. You'll find a lot of advertisements. A housing loan available at 6.65. This is available at 7.75. Why? Because people want to. Most of the banking companies want to attract customers so that they can get business. Advertising and marketing at one end, but closing deal is second end. So if somebody feels okay, so much the banks are in need of money, I can just walk in and ask for money. Eventually you will find, you will be surprised that it doesn't happen like that. Bank is such a weird animal that if somebody wants money, they will run away. If somebody says that I don't want money, the bankers will start chasing him. Please take money, please take money, please take loans from us. But the bankers have a typical reverse orientation. They will not go to a beggar who is actually looking for money. They will say, no, I can't give money to somebody who can't return. They would like to give money who can return it back. So always there is a tussle, there's a tug of war between how do I find my client, my customer, or my borrower who has intrinsic capacity, who has a need and has the capability to return my money. Now that is the skill that one has to identify or has to develop if you want to become a banker. How do I find my customer who is good to be given money, and on whom I can put my faith that he will return the money back to me in that specific time, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, without I losing my sleep and running and chasing mera paisa wapas karo. That so few cases are unfortunate. Maybe Vijay Malia took money and went off. Big mishap, the big miscalculation. But you know uh, miscalculations do happen, and that is why there is a probability which comes into picture that if I am lending to a huge number of people, small chunks, my risk is getting diversified. Some may not be able to pay back under certain conditions, but more or less my portfolio is going to be healthy. But if I put a large money behind one person, and that one person suppose misfires, then I have a huge problem until unless I am covered by some credit or some insurance. So there can be some backup plans there, but then eventually uh, uh, the one has to be, the idea behind every bank is to distribute its risk so that overall risk is brought down, you know, and NPS, that is non-performing assets, are minimized. Now, I have used a word called assets over here. A couple of minutes back, I was talking about a word called liability. So I had said all the money that the bank is collecting from people is the bank's liability. All the money that the bank has lent out, has given on loan, is the asset of the bank. So there are two set of people working in the bank: liability guys and the asset guys. And in between these two set of people are the operations guys, who actually give make the entire machinery work internally, you know, releasing statements, giving MISs, giving your saving account, your debit saving statements, your debit cards reaching you at time, your credit card reaching you at time, your EMI instructions, your intimations reaching you at time, you know, when you come to the bank to deposit, they collecting the money, giving you service in the shortest possible way, ATMs working at any point of the time during the day. Now these are the operation activity which is there behind the curtain, which happens, and you can be a part of this as well. Okay, but remember, in last couple of years, what has happened is a lot of activities which used to be done manually has got automated. Like, I have stopped visiting my bank branch physically, because everything I can do using my mobile phone. And if I have to withdraw money, at the most I go to the ATM, and ATM also does a lot of things for me. Okay, now what is ATM? It's an automated teller counter for me. Okay, which is doing the activity of a human being over the counter. So bank has shifted from manual physical, though it is still there, to heavily into automation, and that has given a lot of tool to the asset and the liability guys. So it is not that they are cutting short, they are cutting the jobs, they are actually adding more powerful tools to the two segments, both the asset side and the liability side. Okay, now, till now I have been giving you a brief idea about the banking. Within banks, I'll give you some variants. Now, banks can be, which is typically controlled and regulated by Reserve Bank of India. Banks can be categorized into the public sector banks, the private banks, the new age, small finance banks, payment banks, rural banks, somewhere it is also known as Grameen banks also. So there are a number of banks which are there in the foreign banks. I've missed out. Sorry, the foreign banks who also are there in this market. In some pockets, not that everywhere, but they're also there. So these banks are existing. Why they're existing? Why so many type of banks? And where can we work? And where will I be able to grow? Where I will be able to make career? Now, this is a typical question which will be there with all young graduates, undergraduates who are going to become graduates, or they're aspiring to take up a MBA program and probably think where to work. Typical feedback that I have got: sir, I would like to work with State Bank of India. Fine, great, no problem. How many openings State Bank of India has in a year? Maybe 100, 200, 300. End of the story. In a year, they would recruit 300, 350, maybe 400, and that's the end of it. So no harm in competing for those 400 seats. One should, because it's the leading and the largest public sector bank. So So similarly, if you look at the PSU banks, every bank will come out with some 150, 200, 150, 200 what do you call openings every year for some position called probationary officer. A probationary officer typically will change hats from a liability guy to an operation guy to a asset guy. So he will keep shuffling his hats. So morning he might become, for the first 3 hours of his day, he might be a liability guy. The second 3 hours of the day, he might become a, what do you call operation guy. And the last 2 hours of his day, he might be analyzing documents and becoming a lending guy. So he will keep changing his glasses and his hat. So so he is going to be learning the overall nuance of the banking per se, and so that he can be trained to become a branch manager, or where he can handle the entire branch, which have all the three aspects. Then comes the private sector banks, who recruit left, right, and center, but they have a issue is these new private sector bank which started, I think mostly they all came up into existence uh, somewhere in early 90s or mid 90s. And now some of them have got a little, some new names have come up, they have merged, and some shuffling has happened, some companies have also got shut. But nevertheless, as on date, maybe around 12 private banks are there. I think the Bandhan has become the latest one which has come up and added itself. These companies have a very large appetite to recruit people. Good news for you. The bad news is that they have an equal bigger outflow of people, because they believe in something called hire and fire. The opportunity lies that I can get in if I am having my skills in my place. I have the knowledge of what I'm supposed to do. I can match my expectation with my employer. I can survive. Otherwise, I may be shown the door. Now, this is the risk that you have, that one would have. But if you can manage your risk, this is a great place where you can get in, make career, earn money, and then move. A new set of banks which have started recently coming up, which are called small finance bank. Now they have started small finance bank. I can name a couple of them. Maybe Equitas, maybe Utkarsh, maybe Ujjivan, Jana. Uh, some of them are there, who are now looking at the tier 2, the tier 3 locations, and within the metros they are looking at that segment of the society which the big banks normally don't cater to. So they have come with their own segmentation. So if you're a student of marketing, you will find segmentation of your market, and that market, which normally a PSU bank or a private bank is little uncomfortable to deal with, they have come out with these products, and they are eyeing to catch this market, and they have uh, uh, products to service this market. So it cannot be an apple to orange. It is an apple to orange comparison. It's not apple to apple. Customers are there both the places, but the products are different. The interest rates are different, because in finance, the only thing that keeps differing is the interest rate. The moment the risk increases, the interest, return on investment, or ROI, or we call rate of interest, will also increase, because you are taking higher risk. If the risk is going down, the interest will also go down. So that equation is something that should be there in your mind, imbibe. That why somebody is charging you more rate, because he thinks that you are a risky proposition. Okay, but if you can prove him that I am not so risky, I am a dependable borrower, they might reduce the rates, but then you have to switch banks. Okay, so I have just touched upon three aspects: liability, operation, assets in a banking. I have also touched upon the PSU banks, the private banks, the small finance banks. The latest one is the payment banks. Now, payment banks, if I uh, can number them. It is countable in number. I think one is you know this bank called India Post Payment Bank. Then you have a Airtel Payment Bank. You have Fino Payment Bank, and maybe Geo Payment Bank. I don't know whether they have started up their operation or not. They are also in the line. Paytm was a payment bank, but I think recently it has become a scheduled bank now, so they can start lending as well. So these banks are again mushrooming. They are spreading their tentacles. They want to reach out to the even remote places of the country. They want to reach out to the rural sector of the country, sorry. And they want to basically create a network where financial inclusion can be the key. They want every single person to come forward and park their money with them, make payments through them, buy small items through them. So they want to give that banking facility. Okay, this is also an opportunity where one can work. But remember one thing: you have to define and you have to understand which which kind of company is growing. Where can I where should I go and attach myself so that I can grow? A company which is stagnant will eventually ensure that you also come and become a part of the ocean and you stay stagnant. If you find a company which is flowing and it is flowing in a great space, it is increasing its network, it is expanding, there is a chance that if you are a performer, there's a good chance that you can grow along with the company's growth. So the intelligence lies in working in either in a huge company where you're in a drop in the ocean, or smaller companies where you can establish yourself as a leader. Because you can only leaders will lead, leaders will grow, people will follow. So you should think, how can I become a leader? How can I influence my people? How can I influence my team? Because banking is nothing. It is like a FMCG. It is like a fast moving consumer item, which is, but only thing is that we poor BFSI employees have nothing to show. We have intangible products like a mobile phone. I can't show you a Nokia or Samsung or a Apple. I can only say, sir, I have got a loan which is a loan which money will come into your pocket, and there is an interest rate attached to it. Okay, so a little difficult, little hypothetical in approach, little abstract in its way it is presented. So but you would enjoy once you start seeing it with a closed eye. You don't have to open your eyes, you have to close your eyes and think about it, visualize how and why people borrow, how and why people invest. Okay, so now I will move from banking to a very near cousin of banking, which is called non-banking finance companies, called NBFCs in short. Now, NBFCs, by the name, non-banking, so they would not, they would not have any bank accounts. They will not give you any saving account. What they do is, some of the companies, some of the bank NBFCs have been allowed to accept deposits. Okay, so they are deposit taking, accepting NBFCs from the very good AAA rated companies. That means they're very good balance sheets, very good portfolio. Customer base is very solid. They're across the country. Uh, their systems are in place. So they can collect money and they will give you some interest, maybe better than banks. But their major activities lies in lending money. They have the capability. They are focused, fully focused on lending. So they will take a segment. Let's say, for example, uh, Sundaram Finance. Okay, I'm just giving an example. Sundaram Finance has got its strength in lending to commercial vehicles. You know, they know how to fund a truck, how to fund a bus, how to fund heavy equipments, earth moving equipments, because they know how to collect the money, where it is used, how it is used, where can, if suppose the truck is missing, because truck is a mobile item, today it is there in Calcutta, tomorrow it will be there in Patna, third day it will be there, God knows where it is. But how to track your truck, in case you have to collect your money and the truck is not there, and the owner is also not there, how do you find him? Perhaps these guys are very out of the experience that they have of so many years of funding Ashok Leylands and Tatas of the world. They have created a, a huge network around, and they're specialized in that. Now they focus in lending, so, and they have a big market share. Similarly, there are other housing finance companies which has cropped up, where they focus only on housing. Within housing, there are a group of companies which has cropped up, again mushroomed in last couple of years. They focus on affordable housing. That means houses where the loan size is less than 25 lakhs. With the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana stuff, all those economical development, economical push that has come up, where people want to, there are government schemes where the borrower can get some subsidy, because they want everybody should have a house. So that is fired. These companies are fired with that idea of funding to the builders who create small houses, and these houses will be bought by the small buyers, and funding would be done by the affordable housing finance companies. Okay, so this is also one area that NBFCs have got into. Okay, so you will have two-wheeler finance, Bajaj Finance. If you walk into any of the malls, you will find companies who even you can buy a mobile phone on EMI. Again, a consumer durable item funded by a NBFC. You will find Bajaj Finance guy sitting over there who will help you buy a mixer to grinder to AC to a washing machine, all those stuff. Okay, so a huge number of NBFCs are there, which are there across the country, which can where you can think of joining them and getting into the leadership position and climbing the ladder. Okay, so that's one area. Then comes, so I've been talking about the segment called the banks and the non-banking finance companies, which is typically regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. The next sub vertical which you will find in the financial services segment is called the SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India's, as a regulator. What they are regulating, so they are regulating exchanges, the stock exchanges, Bombay Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange. They also regulate all the brokers, stock brokers who operate in this market. They also regulate the mutual fund companies. Okay, so this entire capital market, where you buy and sell a share, where you buy sell a unit, or you buy a company, by buying not a company as a whole but as a share of a company, you get 100 shares, 200 shares, 500 shares, 1000 shares, and you buy with expectation that this company would eventually increase its business, its valuation will go up, its share price will go up, my notional income would be there, and tomorrow if I liquidate my share at a higher price, I make something called profit. So you, instead of putting your money into fixed deposit where you might expect 6%, 7% return on the higher side, if you have chosen your company in the capital market properly, you might end up with earning 13, 14, 15%. But you have to do a right choice, a pick of the right company. But then sometimes I mean, most of the people don't have the ability to read the balance sheet, read the economical situations, read the technical analysis, understand the dynamics of the competition going on in the market, who is going out of the market, who is going in the market. If you see many years back, perhaps you know Nokia was one phone which was there in everybody's pocket, and suddenly nobody started talking about Nokia. What happened to it? There was a shift in the market, and when the Androids came in, Nokia was not able to handle it. It lost its valuation at that point of time. But as we know, it is trying to, Microsoft and Nokia, they have come together. They are trying to build up the market again. They are trying to capture, but they lost a race in between. Now, same thing keeps happening in different sectors. So I would not get into the sectors. There are a number of sectors, but every sector has a huge number of companies who have raised money in the capital market, and all these companies are listed on the exchange, which allows you to, as an individual, buy those companies, shares of those companies, and become a part owner or equity shareholder of that company. But what is there? Why I'm talking this to you? What is that you are supposed to do over here? Am I asking you to become investors? I'm no, I'm not asking you to become investors. I'm saying there are companies like stockbroking companies who need people to work with them as financial equity advisors, portfolio managers, wealth managers. That means they want people to go into the market, educate people why should they buy shares and not stay away from it. How should they choose and pick the companies. What should they see when they get financial information. How should they read a graph which is available on the on the NSE or BSE websites or there are a number of stockbroking sites. How should they see the news and read and interpret the news which comes on CNBC or any other media channel, and how can they take decisions in a small way? These are the guys who are going to be MBAs or going to be commerce graduates who will develop some taste for equity markets, derivative markets, mutual fund markets, and will communicate this so that they can again get some more clients, more customer, investors into the ecosystem, into the capital market system. Again, a big area to operate and work. There are companies like ICICI Securities, HDFC Securities, Axis Securities, Kotak Securities, Zerodha, angel broking companies, and the list is on and on. Now there are boutique stockbroking activity companies who deal with high net worth customers, and there are retail guys also. So where who is going to work depends upon what kind of taste you develop, what kind of skills you develop, what kind of knowledge base you develop, what kind of orientation you have in the span of time from today onwards, till the time you reach to the stage where you are going to interact with a company to employ you. You need to be ready for that. You need to prepare yourself. You need to orient yourself. You need to know the language what is required to be spoken. You cannot be tongue tied. You should be able to articulate what is there in that particular market. See, so I'm not saying that you should get into anything and everything, but you should decide that what is my area of interest, and if it is my area of interest, then am I knowing most of the things that is required. So I'm not asking everybody to do a PhD. I'm saying, are you knowing more than what your customer is knowing? That is required. Are you knowing what you know? Do you know it perfect? Do you know why and how and where and when of that particular thing? If not, then please do that. If you have to say that, sir, the P ratio for this company is good. What exactly you mean by P ratio? What is price to earning ratio? Why it is important to me? Do I need know it superficially, or do I need know it in real terms? Okay. If I have to talk about derivatives, if I have to talk about a put option or a call option, do I need know it properly? Am I confusing somebody, or can somebody depend on me that this guy what he says is correct and is absolutely correct? He can be an advisor to me, he can guide me, I can look at him as my consultant. You should, if you are interested to work with any of these stockbroking companies, they are looking for consultants who can attract, convince, influence customers to invest as per the research done by the equity research department of these companies. Okay, so that is one more segment which comes in, called some group of people who are into equity research. Now equity research is again a wide field where you, if you are interested, you go into that, where you track a particular sector, track a particular what do you call, industry. Let's say chemical industry. Suppose, let's say chemical. Let's say, forget about chemical. Let's talk about pharma industry, because COVID is going on, or it still keeps popping up its head every now and then. Pharma industry is something that, suppose you have an interest in what happened to the pharma shares, what happened to the valuation of pharma shares in last couple of months, since the COVID has shown up. You will be surprised to see that some of the shares have zoomed up like anything. Why? Because their sales have gone up, their valuations have gone up. People are willing to buy these shares because they expect that they will have more value, they will have give more returns, they will give more dividends. Reason can be many things, but the point that these shares have gone up, if it could have been communicated to the potential buyer at the right time by the brokers, and they might have done it. That is the reason why people have bought it. So common sense is one, which is not so common. So you have to look for that particular slot in the capital market segment, where if you can speak, educate, influence, talk about the economical situations, the political situation, the financial situation of the industry sector situation, and correlate things with international markets, probably you can grow fast in that particular job, which can come up with any of these broking companies. Mutual fund companies are there who can hire you, because they need lot of people who can communicate and distribute the mutual fund to a larger segment. Mutual fund, in fact, if you see the Association of Mutual Fund Industry, Association of Mutual Funds of India, and it's called AMFI, they are focused, they know that only the top 30 or 40, 50 cities of the country, there are people who are investing, and the money is going only from them, and they are the one who are putting the money, they are the one who are withdrawing the money. So if all the people in these 40, 50 cities, they decide that, oh no, I want to exit the market, they will create a vacuum. So there is an imbalance. The mutual fund companies, they also understand why to depend on 50 cities in the country. Why can't we reach out to next 50 and the next 50 and the next 50, where people are more stable, they are not worried about markets, they'll park their fund, they'll wait for some time, and they have all the time in the earth to withdraw money, because they are not speculators, they're investors, they will stay in the market. So a huge amount of penetration is still available for mutual fund companies. There are about 40-45 companies in the market, and each one of them has got a distribution network, huge distribution network which is there, but still that is not able to do much. So again, a scope of there, whether you can explore, whether you can increase your knowledge about mutual fund, because mutual fund also has got varieties. There are equity mutual funds, there are balanced funds, there are debt funds. Okay, so who should liquid funds, who should buy what kind of fund, their behavioral pattern, their philosophy, their portfolio, their fund managers outlook, everything is there. And then that needs to be analyzed and communicated. So that's one area that you can operate within the within the capital market. There is one area which is highly hyped, called investment banking. People say, just out of the cuff, they will say, when I was doing my MBA, I was told, somebody asked me, "Bhai, kya karoge?" So I said, "मेरे को investment banker बनना है," where I didn't even understand what investment banker means. But since everybody was saying, I also said. So then I realized that how many investment bankers are there, and what kind of work they have to do. It's a tough job of, even if you just imagine one IPO, which is the latest IPO, if you guys have heard of. I would say, uh, I think I can remember Star Health as a recent IPO which got listed. If I'm not wrong, there are many, but the name which I can recollect is Star Health. So I would urge everybody to go to the NSE BSE stock exchange site, download the prospectus of this company when the IPO was issued, or it was about to be launched. It's called the red herring document. If you download the document, you will find it might be a 200-300 page document. Now, this document is typically created by a investment banker, a merchant banker. Okay. So there are group of people, group of companies involved. There is a registrar, there is a underwriting company, there is a merchant banking company, there's a company which markets the entire thing. There are companies, there's a one party of that might be who does the valuation and decides, okay, for a 10 rupee share, we can ask in the market 500 rupees. That means the valuation. People will buy for it. If you are overvalued, people will not buy for it. If you're undervalued, then you're potentially losing money, which you can actually could get, but you are not getting. But all this decision is taken by these set of people, and there's a lot of research which goes. You have to do what do you call, surveys, market survey, collecting data, ensuring that all compliance is done as per the SEBI requirement. So this is one set of opportunity which is there in front of the young graduates to work. If you like this, you'll have to develop yourself into the securities market area. Doing good research, you should have ability to write reports, collate data, make secondary research, primary research, read the legal documents and figure out what can go wrong. So what is the risk of investment? You have to articulate that. You have to also make sometimes, we have to do road shows where you have to make presentation to the investors so that you can get investors come forward. So before the election, typical election that happens, there are the most of the media companies will start debating who is going to win and how they are going to win, why they are going to win, what is their mandates, what is their agenda. So there will be debate. Same way, even the investment bankers, they also make road shows, and they also try to communicate and buy the mindset of the investors, so that suddenly you will find one company giving a lot of advertisement in the newspaper or in the advertisement in the media. Every now and then the ad will pop up, and then you will find, oh my god, this ad was coming because they wanted to come with their IPO in in following 2-3 months. So they want, in the mind of the customer, some brand to get into, get embossed, so that there is a good feeling. Oh, there are so many ads are there, so probably this is a very upcoming company, I should go and invest. Again, there's a lot of people become consultants who actually start giving their own opinions. So You might have a lot of followers. You can become a freelancing customer consultant, and you can make a mark of your own. Nobody can stop you, provided you have the right certificates and right educational background and ability to communicate with people. So communication will remain constantly in all the job roles that is there in banking and financial services. So I touched upon something which comes under the SEBI area. Uh,
Actually, sorry, I'm interrupting you, Soumya. I think you try to make it slightly brief from this point, because I'm sure
yeah,
students have lots of questions to ask.
right,
And
right.
once that happens, then that time will go on and extended, So
Yeah.
try to make it a bit brief now, because students
Right.
are
So,
waiting, and
yeah,
I don't want them to disconnect. Okay. Thank you.
So,
That's
thank you, Amitava, sir, to just remind me that, and I'm virtually towards my last vertical of this industry, which is called the insurance industry. Again,
yeah.
insurance industry is a well diversified industry which reaches out to every pocket of the country, which tries to reach, but openly speaking, frankly speaking, it has yet to do a lot. Insurance companies are there. Some 54 companies are there in the country. They have a huge network, life, non-life. Boys and girls, if you have a two-wheeler, if you don't have your own, your father must be having one two-wheeler or four-wheeler. Just ask him, does he have the motor insurance for your own car, own two-wheeler? He'll say, yes, I have got one because it is mandated. That level insurance has got into where it is mandated to you. Second is, you ask your father, has he bought a insurance policy for himself? He will say, yes, I have done one. And now you have to evaluate whether this insurance policy is good enough that he has bought. Is it going to take care of the family in case something goes wrong with him? Is something that the question that I'm leaving it with you. This this industry is heavily sales oriented. This industry is incentivizes people to work hard. They work hard, they enjoy hard. That is the only thing I would say. And you name the item on the in front of you, probably it would be, it can be insured if it has got value. If it has got value, a longer value, it can be insured. You take your car, you take your house, you take your what do you call building, you take your own life, for that matter of fact, your health. Okay, your travel. If wherever there's a risk, wherever there is a risk of losing money, insurance will come over into picture over there. Okay, but the point is, if the chances of losing money chances should be there, but the propensity or the probability should not be very high. Like suppose you are a fighter pilot, you know, or you are a circus, what do you call, actor, or maybe a player or a constituent of a circus where you are walking along with the lions and tigers. Then there's a lesser chance of you getting an insurance, because there is a high probability that something can go wrong with you. So insurance is one industry which works on probability. It tries to mitigate the risk of the individual where there's a financial risk, which if it is attached to it, not emotional risk, the financial risk. A great place to work. I would not say much about it, because it is for you to explore. I would leave it to you to explore, because you can just walk into where, if you are all there from your house getting participating in this seminar, all you have to do is, after the seminar gets over, ask these three questions to your father or your mother. Is our two-wheeler or four-wheeler insured? Do we have life insurance for ourselves? Do we have everyone covered under health insurance? You will understand that if you are one of the customers for this industry, then everybody who stays in the society that you live, in the residential block that you live, in the area that you live, are potential customer. So if you would have been working with these companies, of similar companies, and you look around, what kind of market is available for you, for these companies? Have they actually printed it? If not, then if you can work with them, what you can do differently to penetrate the market and get business, make your own career, make a lot of money, move around the world, because they take people every year outside. Forget about the COVID period. Otherwise, insurance companies are known to take their performers into different parts of the world for having their annual functions, annual meets. So with that, I have given you a brief about the industry, what you can do, what should you look upon, and why should you look upon this industry to work. Job roles, I have said, there can be number of names, but I can only tell you the entire activity comes into three aspects: sales, operations, and credit. In insurance, the credit is called underwriting. In capital market, the credit is more of risk management activity, where they do equity research, they do financial research, they do technical analysis to predict what is going to happen. And in banking, it is called normal credit appraisal. So with this, I would stop over here and take questions. If somebody would like to ask any questions specific, I would be more than happy to answer it. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Soumya Ranjan. Actually, the talk has been on diverse areas.
Right.
We expected that, because he has been talking on all possible careers in different financial sectors in the country. And he has made you aware that these are the possibilities that exist. Now, I would ask students, because they have been patiently listening for quite some time, and we are doing it in their interest. So the students are now being requested, whatever question you would like to ask, you ask, and in the end, I will ask my own one or two questions, okay? But it is mainly meant for students, so students should get the first opportunity of asking questions. Right. Can we ask students now? Can you raise a hand so that we can know who you are and what is your question? Yeah. Any hands that are being raised? Devashish, please have a look. Are you there, Devashish? Are you
Yes,
there?
sir, I'm here. Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
please see whether there are any hands coming up.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Any hands from my students? Devashish, any information?
Yes, I can see one hand from Maurice.
From Morris. Is it Morris Parnham or Clive Morris? Which one?
Parnham.
Sir, Morris Panam.
Yeah. Would you please come out with your question, Morris? Yes. What is your question?
Sir, I want to ask BFS, sir, that as per him, which sector is good for the students, especially for me, because I am concerned that I want to try in banking sector. So is it good for me to apply there?
Just a moment, Morris. Let me start with the answer. I'll go over to Shoma. They don't know much about you, When you are saying something, What information do they have about you? They don't know anything. You are asking whether a banking career in which you are interested would be the appropriate one for you. Don't you think that it is very, very difficult for a person to answer this question when he doesn't know much about you? Yeah. Yes,
Yes, sir.
Shoma, what is your answer? Yeah.
Right. I think Mr. Amitava has made my life little simpler with yeah, so making this statement. But I would only say that if you intend to work with a bank, you have to, no bank will stop you to join the bank, provided you prepare yourself appropriately. So you have to decide, like the way I have introduced you to the banking system, you have to decide whether I want to work on the front side or the operation side. When I say front, use this word sales little less, but then people get scared. But then nevertheless, on the engagement side, I would say that let me put it in the customer engagement side, the operation side, or the credit side. If you can work on your strengths, if you can develop your skills in any of these areas, uh, there is a good amount of chance that you can work with banks. And the way of getting into banks is something that you should also know, that if it's a PSU bank, then you have to go through the IBPS route. The PO examinations are there you can go. Private banks, you can apply to them, you can work with them straight, apply to their advertisements or to their website, you can do. There is small finance banks also are recruiting, so you can apply there as well. But remember one thing, that when it comes to recruitment, 95% recruitment happens for front office, the engagement side. So if you say, I want to get into the bank first, so their objective is to get into the bank. Now here the best way of doing is that go along with the flow, create that aura within yourself, create the personality of yours in such a way that you are always a welcoming figure. The bank finds you as an ambassador of their brand. They see you as a guy who can connect with people, and they will take you in. Once you are in, then you have to decide, how can I influence my manager, how can I influence my HR, what skills I can display in front of them, and I can have an internal movement from sales to any other department. If you have that in your mind, somewhere there in the mind. But entering is the first thing. Do the first thing first. First thing is the gate which is bigger, please get into that, through that. Don't try to get into the smaller gate, which is going to be very specific, very critical. They are very choosy, they are finicky, and you might not fit in. And you might also lose your time, energy. So my reply to you, my suggestion to you, find out your strength, work on your weaknesses, improve your groom yourself, learn the basic knowledge and skills required for.
Thank you. I think there's been interruption.
And I'm very sure you should be able to crack one of those banks in future.
Thank you. Maurice, I hope that has answered your question. We are going to a second question. Yes, Debashish, do you find any names?
Yes, sir. One more hand I can see. Akanksha Kumari Singh.
Akanksha Kumari Singh of the year 1, semester 1. Yes, Akanksha, can you come up with your question, please?
First of all, very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon,
It was very great to attend this class. It acknowledged me about many things that I didn't knew. Sir, my question was, I'm wanting to become an HR in future.
Okay.
So what are the role and influences an HR have in the banking sector? And one opting for becoming an HR should join banking sector or try for some corporate sector? What do you think about it?
No. HR is a activity or a department which is there in all
Yeah, sure,
sectors.
sure.
So there is no reason why a bank doesn't need HR. In fact, they need HR. The biggest problem of the bank today is not their salespeople. I mean, if you ask me heart to heart, if I make this open statement in front of bankers or the HRs in the bank, they'll kill me. But the problem lies that if the recruitment, if is done in the right way, the banks will not have the problem of attrition, the productivity, and all the issues will get solved only if your recruitment is done in a very, very systematic way. If you intend to become a HR, you should have that ability. You should learn how to choose and pick the right kind of candidate for your organization, depending, looking at the job description of your organization or of the job role for which you're doing recruitment.
Precise answer.
Yeah. So HR doesn't only mean recruitment. HR also means activity which is related to performance appraisals. It also about learning and development of the employees. It also tries to ensure that the people working in the organization are happy. There's a cultural what do you call balance within the work as well as home. So if you're looking at becoming HR, you are absolutely game for it. You should work towards it, and banks are always looking for HR. Yes, I'll put a small star over here that if a bank has got 1,000 people working, there can be 10 people working in HR. That is the only problem that you might face. That how do I make a part of that those set of 10 people, whereas there are 1,000 people who are working in sales and other area. Can I become a part of that 1,000? So HR is a small team. You need to crack the requirement. You have to be, the competition is a little high, but it is not a no. It is definitely yes. They need people.
Thank you. Any other question coming up, Debashish?
Sir, I can see one question in live chat. Just wait, sir. Let me read it out.
Yes. Name, please.
From Amit, I can see one question. The question is, can you tell more about how to join equity sector, BSc Economics first semester?
Okay. It's Amit Kishore,
Okay.
is it?
Yes, sir. Amit Kishore.
Of which year?
BSc Economics first semester.
First semester, year 1. Yes. How do you respond to that, Soumya? How do you respond to this?
So Amit, very interesting to know from a first year guy, basically coming from the economics side. Your choice of question is very good. You should look forward for capital market segment as a student of economics. You should look for equity research as your area, because equity research is something which will help you, which will actually bring all your knowledge about macro and micro and relate it to the final thing what you want ultimately. Like, when you go to a doctor, all you need is that give me a medicine which will cure my misery.
Sure.
Right? But
Yeah.
for the medicine the doctor has to give to you, prescribe, he has to ask 1,000 thing to you, get your medical test, your stool test done, your urine test done, your blood test done, and after that he will give you the solution. The same way, most of the company people sitting in this ecosystem or maybe society, if you ask them, they will ask you, tell me tomorrow morning which share is going to go up so that I can buy it today, so tomorrow I'll make 100% profit. Nobody knows this answer. But the point is, if you want to become a part of this ecosystem, the way people pop up in CNBC and say tomorrow morning this is going to go up, that is going to go down, you can actually work with, I would suggest you should start reading balance sheets, reading, correlating, trying to draw inferences of industry. From the industry, you should follow a couple of, I would say, look at the various indexes in the NSE stock exchange, there are banking industry, banking index, there are automobile index, there are pharma index. You will come to know why these indexes are moving vis-a-vis the Nifty, why they are moving up and down, who are influencing, which companies are getting creating this kind of upward or downward movement. You have to then relate with the economical movements domestically, internationally, and the pricing of these companies. When you come to a stage where you are able to come out with some inferences, I'm sure you can approach the stockbroking companies for becoming a part of these companies as their what do you call they have positions where they look for people who can articulate comfortably and read reports. The equity research team will generate a report. You have to read it, understand, and then communicate. You directly cannot become a research guy, but you have to start with communicating, then you work backwards, and then you become a part of the equity research team. And so you can definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. What about you, Khalida? You are asking a question. What is it from BCom? Yeah. Khalida, BCom semester 5. Are you there?
Oh, yes, sir, I'm there.
Yeah. What was your question? Please articulate it. What's the question?
Good evening, sir. My name is Khalida Khanam Chaudhary, and I am in final year of BCom. So the question is, as an investment banking aspirant, I wanted to know if there is any scope, like as a fresh graduate, just graduating out of college and joining any investment bank. So what will be the job responsibilities that I can expect, like as a fresh graduate?
I would not make a very rosy answer to you. I can only say that investment banking per se normally don't take graduates. I'm not discouraging you, only I'm giving you the actual facts of the life. They would prefer to take up people who are coming from a postgraduate level. Okay, so if you should think of doing your MBA in finance, okay, that to be in taking up subjects which is related to project management or in investment or portfolio management. I would still say your corporate finance area should be very strong. Corporate structuring should be very strong as to what kind of debt and what kind of equity one company should take up, so that the structure of the balance sheet is enough to support the functioning of the company. So if you do that, probably then you should think of getting into investment banking as a career and work with investment bankers, because this investment banking is a very niche area. There are not many companies that they take, so it needs, that is the reason why they pick up very sharp, very high flying postgraduates, typically from IIMs. Maybe you should think of getting into IIM Calcutta or IIM Ahmedabad or IIM Bangalore. I would like to be very blunt. Second, if you program to do some courses like CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, that also will augment your inching nearer to the to this investment banking thing. But you should always figure out what this investment banking guys they talk. What are visit the website, see the career opportunity that sometimes they seek people. If you can apply, you can. But if you ask me, normally they are very choosy, very finicky. They look for postgraduates. So at this point of time, I really cannot make a statement which might be a wrong statement of saying that that's how it is.
That's all.
I hope I've given some good answer, but I know you would have got the point.
Yes, sir. Thank you for answering my question. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other questions coming, Debashish? Do you find any other question, Debashish?
No, sir. There is no question.
Right. Then we have come to the end of the presentation as a webinar, as well as some questions coming from students. But in the end, as the coordinator, I think I can ask one or two questions in the end.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure, sir.
And, for some reason that only principal knows, I have been made coordinator plus the nodal person for this particular the association. Okay, right. Now, given that, I have a hardcore career in economics. Okay, and I of course I have got degree, first degree, second degree, or even degrees after that. They are all on economics. Now the question is that you have been talking in the all communication. You have been talking about a course that the students may take, and it is priced at 3,000, very nominal price of 3,000 rupees, and it covers a lot of area. These courses cover a lot of area and a number of webinars and other things. Now, given that the students, I will have to talk to the students about these courses that are on offer, and the QPs that you have been talking about, I think I've remembered correctly. The QPs, you're talking about. So I would be talking to you, maybe with Sachin also, who is a very articulate person you have, to the two of you, that how a student will benefit by joining the course proper, rather than just being in the association.
Right.
Okay. Because there are definite advantages of joining the course. The main one being that they have a certificate. When they pass out, they have something tangible. The certificate that you have done a course on this, or you have done a course on that. And that later on can improve their chances in terms of placement at a company, internship at a company.
Right.
Now, what I am asking, and as usual, teachers are extremely long in their introduction, but what I am asking in the end, in fact, sometimes all that they give is the introduction. So in the end, the question has come. The question is that students should be encouraged to do the course rather than just being a beneficiary of the association. This is what I think from the reading of the literature.
Right.
But at the same time, they have their own career plans also. That is, I do my BCom, then I try MBA or MCom. And ideally, their time should be after their SEM 5 finishes and before the SEM 6 exam. This is a gap of some 4 months. No longer 6 months, credit to COVID, which has cut short all semesters and made the education system haywire in the country. But given 4 months, in the 4 months, you have to fit in the course. Will it be possible for you to fit in within the short period time span of some 3 to 4 months? Yeah.
Okay. Well, you have put me a question and I need to answer, but we normally, before I answering this question, I'll put it in a different way, how we see this happening, and what normally we speak to the students is that in the life cycle of a student from his first year, second year to third year, and then moving out of the college, in all probabilities, he can pick up certificates. No problem about that. We have even a provision where student can have self-learning, because with so much of material in the media available, books available in the library, faculties available, we are okay. In fact, we are more than happy if a student says, okay, fine, I just want to give my exam on my own. I need time. You give me the material that I need to do work, and then I will do my investigation and come back to you with a date. And I'll choose a date and you take my exam. That's one way of we looking at it.
Yeah.
Why we are saying this? Because when it comes to internship, or it comes to apprenticeship, or it comes to employment, whichever way the student wants to take up
Okay.
in,
Yeah.
so he should be able to display that, sir, I have got certain certificates with me which I've completed. I have learned certain things which you can ask and answer. I think I am in a position to answer. Also, what we want to do is, very shortly, we want to come out with something called do it yourself program. Okay, that means if a student is going to do uh, a mutual fund course, we want him to actually spend time talking, reading, experiencing the mutual fund programs in the real line, in the real time. That means I want that fellow to go and talk to his neighbors, talk to his relatives, talk to his friends, the friend's father, and ensure that why people buy insurance, why people buy mutual fund, what kind of mutual fund they have bought, what was the mindset that they have, do they really realize what they have, what portfolio they are actually invested their money into, and then he should be able to, come out with his inference that, sir, I can improve the quality of investment by an individual by seeing his risk appetite, by seeing his time horizon that he has in his mind, what amount that he wants to earn out of his investment. I can advise him, because this is what I've learned from my theory and my practical. So we want, some modules to get created. We are working very closely with some of the mutual fund companies, and I have asked them to help me out with some programs which can run for 6 months, and the student should be able to give his exam after experiencing. So I want that. See, giving a spoon feeding of in the class will take us nowhere. But if the guy experiences, he would have actually be more confident about what he is speaking, and he has got enough time in his hand to go and do cross verification from the theory and what is there in the practical.
Exactly.
So that is one.
Exactly.
So, but yes, in 4 months we are not looking forward for delivery of course in 4 months, and we are looking for some miracle to happen. We intend the student to pick up certificates steadily and slowly in the first and second year, out of his own choice, and he can always discuss. In fact, we are contemplating to share all the 4 or 5 books that is there with us in a digital format to him. He can choose what he wants to take up on the day one, year one, or the semester one, then what to take up in semester two, so that he increases his what do you call ability to promote himself as a potential intern or a potential apprentice or an employee to his client. We have this program called Basics in Banking, Financial Banking, Investment and Insurance, which we intend to give it to people so that they are comfortable in choosing the right thing after that
Yeah,
spending
that
20.
is important. Choosing
Yeah,
the right thing. That's
right,
very important,
right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, but Amitabh sir, it so happens that we all get infatuated to certain job roles. Okay, and we don't, and we think that we can handle it. But there is somebody who should show us the mirror. There is somebody who should counsel the student, and or the student should ask for counseling that, am I really good for this? Should I do this? Do I really like it? Many people don't like numbers. They don't like to keep adding, deleting, multiplying, dividing. They say, no, 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 this is something I don't want to do. I want to give conceptual dialogues. I want to have, I can influence hundred of people by talking to them, but don't give me paper and pencil and ask me to add and delete and figure out whether the figures are matching, because I don't want a clerical job. But there are some who would say, no, no, give me an accounts job. I would like to ensure that at the end of the day, I tell you how much profit you are making, how much loss you are making, what is the cost of production for a given product or for the given set of people. Now, these are typical cost accountants or accounting mindset. So, how a person is going to evolve will take some time. We want to keep everything in front of the student, and we want students to also understand where the market is moving. See, something that is not in our control is the market. When I say market, means the job market. If the industry is moving somewhere and we don't align ourselves to the industry, what happens is we stay in our own world and the industry moves in one direction. So like for the students who are studying economics, they can prepare themselves for the Indian economic services. They can prepare for RBI examination. They can prepare for NABARD examination. They can prepare themselves for there are a number of other research institutes which take economics. Yes. Only thing is that one has to understand that these positions are limited. So can I evolve myself and adapt myself to something else in case I don't make it? I should not be watertight compartment. I should be a person who can change and flexible and should be able to adapt myself very fast. There are companies who are the companies have economists working for them. I mean, I know for some, there are even foreign exchange departments or treasury departments of big Indian multinationals need economists to project and to say that what's going to happen. Should I deal with the European market or should I deal with the American market? Do I need to hedge myself against? So there can be many things, but I would say in open forum that I would prompt all the students to do a little retrospection, find out their strength, match themselves with the movement in the markets or job markets, stay along with the flow, pick up those. Either you have to develop your interest in those areas, or you have to be a champion in the area in which you want to become, you want to join, irrespective of the markets. You have to choose two choices. Either you become a champion, nobody can stop you. Okay, you need to be Sachin Tendulkar, whoever may be the bowler, doesn't make a difference to you. Okay, any ground, any stadium, any bowler, I will hit six. That either you become a Sachin Tendulkar,
true.
Or you should become, you should change colors as per the situation.
Thank you. I think you are explicit. But then in the end, we have come to the end of the talk. The question remains that if the students opt for the course, ideally, how much time should they give for the course? I mean, how long is the course?
So you're looking at a QP?
Yes, QP, of course, a QP. Huh?
Yeah. QP 4 months is enough for one single QP that you pick up. Any QP that you pick up, 4 months time is good enough for a third-year student because he would be matured enough to go through the entire set of entire module and prepare himself.
Okay.
And can give the exam. 4 months is good enough, but he has to spend every day some time, read from the ecosystem, some material, has to go to the business magazines, newspapers to correlate what is happening. Read some balance sheets of some company. So we will definitely guide you what is to be done. But 4 months is good enough to give the exam.
And the webinars conducted by people who are offering placement or internship, will that be available to anyone who is doing the course or anyone in the association?
Professor Chatterjee, can I interrupt? This is Samrat.
বলুন, sure.
বলছি আমাদের টাইমটা না 5টা অবধি নেওয়া আছে and it is only already 4:53. So I would request you to wind up. We can have discussion with Soumya sir maybe over email also.
I understand.
Can we wind up?
Actually,
that would be
I'm
great.
sorry about that. Samrat,
otherwise it will end abruptly.
I think we are out a time constraint. So we will have to wind off. Thank you, Soumya, for the entire discussion. And I hope that I will send you a mail or we will talk on them. I'm not very good on the mail, not very good. on the
problem,
mail.
sir. You
But-
have Sachin's number. My number also will be available to you. You can call up
Yes,
anytime.
you
We
can
are always
give
there.
me your number, because I will be talking to my students all the time,
Okay. Done.
and
That's
I
it.
will find out who are these people who
Right.
are really interested in a QP,
Right.
because QP is the most interesting thing that I saw.
Right.
When you wrote about it, that
Right.
is the most interesting thing to me.
Correct.
And
Sir.
everyone is not good for the QP. Everyone may not be looking for it. Let me
Correct.
find out at my end. Let
Done.
me be the HR person in my college. Okay.
Done. Absolutely,
I am the
sir.
HR over
Right.
there. And we will talk about it. Thank you very much. And I give the mic over to Shamrat to conclude the session. Okay. Shamrat.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chatterjee. Thank you, Soumya sir, for the very illuminating lecture and the questions that were raised by the students. I would like to thank Mr. Shukla also for this, this collaboration that we have with Scottish Church
Yes.
College and BFSI. We are looking forward for more such interactive sessions and student development programs in future also. So with that, formally, I would, with the permission of Professor Chatterjee, I would like to end today's session. Thank you once again. Thanks to all the students for their participation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.